Today we have a very special guest. Naman Sachdeva joins us. Naman is currently pursuing his MIM from the IE Business School in Spain. Naman, if you could join us right now, that would be nice. Hi, Naman. Hi, I think you had your mic off. Hi. How are you doing, Naman?
I'm sorry, there's a problem with the mic, I think.
Right. Can you hear me, Naman?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Perfect.
All right. So how are you doing, man? How are things there? I know that you're currently pursuing your MIM from the IE Business School. So maybe you could tell our viewers a little more about yourself, your background, and what you're currently studying there.
Sure, sure. So I did my schooling from Gurgaon, from like a school called Chalam. It's international school. I did commerce with maths there and scored around 92%. Then I joined University of Delhi. I did my bachelor's of commerce honors from there. Joined a lot of clubs, was the president, and the sort of the leader for a lot of clubs there. Did a couple of internships, one in Reliance Communications, the
All
other
right.
one in like a Finnish company which was into textile rentals for big multinational clients.
Okay.
After that, I went on to be joining IE for the Masters in Management program in 2019. I was a part of the 2019 September intake, and that is still what I'm doing right now. So again, I had to like move back to India around I think June because of like the whole coronavirus situation.
Yeah.
But other than that, like the whole experience that I has been like really good and has been great. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I'm going to step back a little. You mentioned that you studied your honors program for Delhi University, and then the thought of studying a master's abroad sort of came to mind. Help us understand why you chose to study abroad and why not study masters in India.
Sure. So so like to begin with, so if you look at the international standing of various universities in India, uh, especially like universities for management, because I sort of have a background in commerce and management, and that is also what I wanted to pursue
Right.
going forward as well, and
Right.
have a leading management role in the company or perhaps a startup for that matter. So if you look at the universities in India, I think the best ranked universities are IUB or say IIM Ahmedabad. They're still ranked very. I wouldn't say that they're ranked the best in the world. They're still ranked like 40, 45,
That's right.
both on FT and for QS as well.
That's right.
Which is not really the case with a lot of European universities and a lot of US universities.
That's right. That's right.
And the primary reason for me for choosing IE was that it is a very internationally recognized university. I'm sorry, business school, and it's value like it's a brand that is valued across the world. The other being the fact that it is ranked very very high for entrepreneurship. So, for example, Bloomberg last year ranked it second in the world for entrepreneurship, and
Wow.
yeah, 10th in the world for in most innovative schools. So yeah, that was my primary. Those are like my primary reasons for choosing IE. Other than that, the fact that universities in US have a very high cost bearing with them,
Okay.
which is not true for most European universities. So I was targeting primarily European universities. Also, I would say the culture in Spain is something that is also very likable to me. So yeah, that is the reason why I chose IE, I would say.
Okay. Okay. So what you're telling us is that you looked at, I mean, a management program was something that was obvious to you, and and when it came to studying management, you looked at world rankings and not India specific rankings, because
Right, right.
I mean, develop a portfolio and sort of get into roles which might not be restricted to India. So, I mean, from that perspective, I think I buy what you're saying, right? And that's something that all our viewers should get to, because I mean, most of us based out of India live in this cocoon of the
For
ions are
sure.
the best, and and I think if you're genuinely sort of looking at your career as being truly global in the sense of the word, then maybe looking at a school outside of India would actually make more sense.
Right,
Right?
right. I mean, IIMs
Absolutely.
are definitely like great institutions with really great people coming in. Like I wouldn't find a reason to not go for IIMs, but from an international point of view, they don't carry nearly as much reputation abroad, which sort of brings a disadvantage to the people who go to IIMs, because when people who go to IIMs are also very bright and very,
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly, very smart people. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, this curiously enough brings up this interesting point of the selection process itself. Because if you compare the IIMs vis-a-vis a top school in Europe, I think the admission process itself is vastly different. I'm sure you applied
Very,
to a
right,
bunch of schools besides
right,
IE,
right.
and in fact we thought we could also tell our viewers that IE is one of those top ranked schools in Europe where you don't need to have a good GMAT score. You don't, in fact,
Yeah,
a GMAT score is probably not a mandatory requirement because
right,
there are other ways of getting in. So maybe you could tell us more about that, Naman.
sure. So I is sort of a business school which looks at your profile very holistically. So for example, say you do not have a good GMAT score, uh, it is more advisable for you not to submit the GMAT score and to give their own exam, which is the IEGAT. Again, the class average is around I think 680 for GMAT, which is high. But student who like have not studied for GMAT and who do not like want to waste say another year only to study GMAT to get into like a good business school. I really stands out in that part as well, because they could really stake their claim by giving IE's exam as well, which is the IEGAT.
Yeah.
So the way IEGAT is structured is sort of similar to GMAT,
Okay.
GMAT exam, but it's sort of a mix of GMAT and CAT. You see, so it's like a lengthy sort of an exam,
Okay.
similar to the CAT, but you're not really expected to complete the whole of it. Again,
Okay.
similar to how CAT works, but the questions there are not nearly as quant heavy or as rigorous, I would say, as it is on CAT. So
Okay.
that is a sort of a similarity that it has with the GMAT. Yeah, so that it's sort of a mix of both, and it helps you to get into the MIM. I think you could give it for the MBA as well, and
Okay.
a couple of other programs too.
Okay,
And
so if you're targeting schools such as Ivy, I think the general sort of advice is there are plenty of schools in the top 10, 20 schools in Europe, which have this nuance of you can apply either on the basis of another test, an
right,
alternative that the university itself has, the college itself, the B school itself has, or you could apply on the basis of your application and the merit that that
right, right.
probably presents. So that's an interesting point that you brought in. Um, Naman, so you mentioned some time back that you like the culture in Spain, and
Yeah, for
and
sure. Yeah.
I'm sure studying in Spain is something that a lot of our Indian audiences are thinking. How is it that you survive in a country for a whole year? What about language requirements? Because clearly, Spanish it would be something that could help you navigate the country better. So what was your experience like? Did you learn Spanish and?
Sure. So, like to begin about talking with, I'm sorry, to begin about talking about the culture of Spain, I would say that, to be very honest, not a lot of people there speak English.
Okay,
So I think it's around 75% of the population who do not speak English.
okay,
Uh, but having said that, but the culture of like the whole country is still very friendly towards foreign people, towards people who do not seem very native, and
right,
it's really Spain is very touristy country, so people are very used to
right.
seeing foreign nationals and people who have been coming in for studying at various different business schools, because I again Spain has a lot of good business schools other than I as well, who have been getting in people from since like a lot of years now.
Right.
So talking culture wise, the culture is very relaxed. Like Spanish people are very relaxed, yet they're very hardworking. That is something that I really liked being a fact. Other than that, like the country as a whole is very safe for people to be living there. So that is something that was clearly very enjoyable as well. The culture
So
of the country is
did you, did
very
you
friendly towards people.
did you study Spanish before you went there?
I studied a bit of Spanish, so I know elementary Spanish, which is A1, and that is really how much the bare minimum I think is good for you to know to
Okay.
sort of engage with the people outside of like the whole business school as well, because again people are, again, as I said, people are very willing to talk to you if you
And
put
how
enough
long
skills there.
does, how long does an A1 level take? Can somebody do this off Duolingo, or would you need would
Yeah.
you need to do it off an institution?
Sure. So in the case of I offers you 1.5 month preparation course before the program if you're not a native speaker
Right,
for the A1,
right,
for preparing for the A1 certification.
right.
Then you can continue doing that to an advanced level as well if you wish to, but that is something that is on offer free at IE. Uh, uh, Say you do not get into IE or you get into another institution, which is also great, I would say. Uh, uh, there are a lot of online courses that you could do. A1 is not really very rigorous.
Okay,
It's really, I would say, work of three months or something part time, so
okay,
that you could build those
okay,
set of skills wherein you could have
okay.
basic conversations with people in Spain. Yeah,
Got it. Obviously, it depends on your comfort with languages and
for
your
sure. Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. But sure, I think that's a useful point. So if somebody is looking to apply for the next year, I think, and sitting right now, if you look at schools in Europe,
Right,
most countries in Europe are not English speaking. So
right,
so you
for
you
sure. Yeah,
probably should start at developing at least an A1 level, at least
right,
a basic level of comfort over the language. I think
right.
that makes sense. Okay, Naman, now why don't you tell me about what course you studied there at IE, and why you
Sure.
chose, I think it's digital marketing, if I'm not wrong.
No, no. So I did a master's in management with a specialization in digital business.
Right, digital
So,
business.
right. So
Sorry.
digital business is more into digital transformation and something that a lot of big tech companies are talking about right now because of
Absolutely.
coronavirus. It's
Absolutely.
really a business model transformation of from a conventional sort of a business to a more tech-driven sort of a business, so something similar to what Geo is doing right now. They're
Absolutely.
completely transforming their business model from a conventional oil and gas chemical industries business to a more tech-driven sort of business. So that is
Absolutely.
my specialization. So we did a lot about agile methodologies. We did Python, and we did how to build an e-commerce business. So
All right.
that is the like the whole comprehension of my specialization.
All right.
So the specialization period starts midway into the program, and is really the second half of the program. The
Right.
first half of the program is uh, is general management and talking about things like financial accounting, management accounting. Then you go with data analytics, a bit of data analytics there. Then it's leadership as well. So yeah, it's more general management.
Okay.
Then the second half, yeah.
So here's a question that comes to mind. Did you have to choose or opt for the specialization when you joined, or was that something you could do, midway through the course?
Sure. So I think it's a question that is very important from the point of view of the students. So at IE, if you wanted to choose your specialization in the very beginning of the course, you can do that. But you do have an option to change it at any given point of time till the specialization period starts. So before the specialization period starts, you're supposed to have chosen a specialization domain already. But before of that, you can change it as many number of times and uh, with whatever the sort of specialization you think is more suitable for you. So yeah, it's very I is very flexible on that front. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, purely from the perspective of, what other options did you look at besides, digital transformation?
Sure.
What other options did you consider, and why? Because, I mean,
Right,
as I understand it, you're somebody who studied commerce.
right.
So, why the switch from, a commerce management sort of discipline to, digital transformation, which, as I understand, most students will think it's a domain which let the engineers handle because it's
Right.
technology related. And so how is it that you foresaw your future, and why did you choose this?
Sure. When I was applying to IE and like other business schools as well, I was looking at broadly three type of specializations or three type of even specialized courses.
Yeah.
One was a master's into international business or like a specialization into international business.
Right.
The second one was finance and investments.
Right.
The third one was digital business.
Right.
Again, I has all these three sort of specializations available in the masters in management program, so you could choose any one of them.
Okay.
But personally speaking, why did I choose this business? One, I wanted a sort of new experience to what I've already done in Delhi University. So
Okay.
as most people would know, Bachelor's of Commerce honors is sort of heavy on accounting and finance.
Correct.
So I sort of wanted to experience a new domain.
Right.
And as everybody knows that tech companies are eating into most of the industries now, and it's sort of like a necessary skill for everybody to get some domain knowledge in technology as well, other than obviously their own domain. It's really an add-on advantage to you that really helps you when you look when you go on and look for jobs. So that is something that I was looking for at that point of time, and that is why I chose this domain, which was not really present in most business schools, I would say.
Right.
As of now, again, business schools are coming up with new courses now, like for the past 3 4 years. But prior, like the program is very old, so it has been going on for like I think 12 years. So like
Right.
alumni base is very established here. So I thought it's a like good decision to go with this specialization type.
And you say that with the benefit of hindsight behind you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I mean that actually links to another question I had. So now that you've studied, a digital business program, what would you advise somebody who's thinking of, a specialization, somebody who's thinking of a management course abroad, or in India, but wants to still sort of, get a hang of, get a, right, narrow down the specialization options, right? What advice would you have about, your specific specialization, digital business, and what kind of pre-work would probably help, let's say, in driving future outcomes?
Sure. So, so as uh, like to rightly interpret the question, it's more on the basis of should you be choosing like a specialized course or should you be going for a general management program,
Yeah,
and what sort of pre-courses you could do to make sure that it is the right decision for you. Is
absolutely,
that clear? Yeah.
absolutely,
Perfect.
absolutely.
So I would say it really depends on individual to individual. For example, there are some people who are already working. Since I have some sort of a background of the finance and the accounting industry, let's maybe talk about that. So, for example, say somebody is working and has done a couple of internships, has been working for a year in like an investment bank or in the finance department of a with like a good bank. I'm sorry, of a good uh, of like a good company, and they want to stick to their particular domain itself. And what they're really looking for is more knowledge and more perspective in their particular field. I think for them, a specialized course really makes sense. But for somebody who is exploring more domains, so for example, he's not very clear if he wants to get into finance. He's not very clear if he wants to get into say technology or marketing or consulting. I think for them, general management programs are very beneficial because what they essentially are like the junior something similar to an MBA, but for people who do not have a lot of work experience.
Yeah.
Those are the masters in management programs essentially. So it's really beneficial for the people who are not very clear on the domain that they want to get into.
Right.
So yeah, so I
Right.
would say so for general management programs, I wouldn't say that there's a pre-course necessary for where you want to get into, but any sort of interest that you have and industries that you've chosen already, obviously more alignment towards that would be beneficial for you going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. Actually, if you look at most data analytics courses,
Right.
masters in analytics programs, then I think a prerequisite is, at least comfort around mathematics and statistics.
Exactly.
So that does work like a prerequisite. I'm sure, with finance or,
Right, right, for sure.
other domains, there could be similar things which would, lend credence to your choice
Right,
more than anything. But, clearly digital business is something that everybody has some sort of an experience about by way of internships or even
right,
work.
right,
So I guess it boils down to, choice. I think
right,
it
right.
also does. All right. So I'm going to circle back. I, in fact, have this question from one of our live viewers who's joining us now. He's referring back to your, your advice on the IEGET. So his question is that if I take the IEGAT, how different or how difficult is it when you compare it to the GMAT? Right? Just purely in terms of difficulty level, you compared it with the CAT and said, sure,
Sure.
it's in a sense of the word, it's similar. You don't need to complete it. It's not as hard. But then how does one compare, the IEGAT with the GMAT? Would you say it's easier? Would you say it's harder? Or is it, on similar lines?
I mean, so for example, when you talk about cat, it's really more on the in terms of the percentile that you get, or how far ahead you are from your competition. Same goes with GMAT. I mean, you have to get a better score. It is really a prior preparation of I would say 3 months or 4 months full time
Correct.
to
Correct.
be preparing for GMAT. That is
Correct.
not something that is similar for IGAT. IGAT is targeted at people who do not want to invest this amount of time in the exams that they give.
Okay.
So the people who want to invest this amount of time in the exams that they give, they have an option of GMAT, they have an option of GRE, and for India they have an option of CAT. But
Right.
people who do not want to do that, they have an option of IGAT. So it does not require a lot of preparation upfront. They give you I think some sample exams to prepare for that day itself. So it's
Yeah.
like they give you I think half an hour to 40 minutes to get hold of what the exam really is, and
Okay.
it's more on the front of they want to gauge who you are. So
Right.
it's not like if you score very high in quant, you would be able to get in. You score very high in say verbal, you would be able to get in. They
Right.
want to know more about you as a person. There's a section of ethics as well, I think, on the exam, and of your psychological standing to it. It's a like the process with IGAT is very very holistic.
So
It is very very personal. Yeah.
in a sense, you're telling us that the test itself could be a combination of an aptitude exam like the
Yeah,
CAT
it's possible.
CMAT and a psychometric test, much on the likes of what as
Right, right,
recruiters conduct.
right,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I hope that answers your questions, Ashank. But I'll move on. And then so you chose to study in Spain.
right.
And one common refrain I get from our students here is uh, today I think I mean if you go back before coronavirus, obviously Corona has changed the entire landscape. But pre-Corona times, I think uh, people were looking at Europe and thinking maybe the growth rates are not up there. Maybe unemployment levels are much higher than they are in India. In US the growth has sort of slowed down. I mean it's making a comeback now. I see, but so broadly the perspective is that Europe as a destination might be great in terms of ranking of B schools, but there is a big question mark with regard to what are job prospects like, and what are job prospects, especially if you put in the fact that you're an immigrant, sorry,
Right,
you're a foreign national,
for
and
sure.
you're somebody who's going to seek employment where in a country where unemployment levels are anyway high. So especially case in
Exactly.
point, Spain, right? So how would you address, what was your a preconceived notion when you went and studied there, and has it changed since you've now that you've
Right,
completed the course?
right. So I think it's a very very important question, and the question that I pondered upon really deeply before going to IE and trying to select programs in Europe,
Yeah.
broadly speaking,
Yeah.
because Europe, comparing it to USA, it does not has had that great growth in the past, I think 7 or 8 years, I would say.
Right. Right. Right.
But for me, uh, choosing IE was more on the front of the reputation that it carries both nationally and internationally. So, for
Right.
example, I know a lot of alums, including Indian alums, and a lot of so I have a lot of alums who are friends in the Middle East as well, and I have a lot of friends of US who have who have started at IE, and then they went on to work in the Netherlands. They went on to work in Germany. They went
Right.
on to work in London, in Ireland. So it's more broadly based upon what sort of relationship your business school or your university has with its alumni and has with its with the sort of recruiters that come into on the like the recruiters who come on the campus.
Right.
So broadly speaking, yeah, Spain does not has growth rates as great as US, but cost of education in US, relatively speaking, is very very high. So you do really get a cut there in Spain, or largely speaking in countries like even France, because France has a lot of good business schools as well.
Right.
Saying the fact that if you get good education, then and you have a university associated with you, which has a good reputation both locally and globally,
Right.
it really benefits you in the long term, because if you get a job in London, if you get a job in say Madrid, or if you get a job in the Netherlands, the quality of life there, relatively speaking, is better than many countries there, and many countries in North America, or even in Asia,
Right.
broadly speaking. And the work culture there is very very balanced, which is not really
Absolutely.
present in US as well.
Absolutely.
So it's really more about the priorities of people than it is about linear thinking on just thinking about one metric. That since Spain is not as good as say Germany, or Spain is not as good as UK, then I shouldn't really be choosing a business school there, which could be a wrong decision, because maybe that business school is has great alumni
Correct.
in locally and globally as well, and could has I mean could be having great reputation as well.
Very, very interesting point that Naman. So I mean, I think if I'm getting this right, I think what Naman is trying to tell us is that don't just go by the economy of the country you're going to study in, because
Right,
I mean, clearly the first thought seems to be that, you look at
right,
how good are the job prospects there. But when you're studying a master's program in Europe, then you're opening up the entire continent.
right,
B, I think leverage the alumni network, and so a school like I really brings that to the fore, because I mean the wide network of alumni working in different countries and different
right,
continents, in fact, means that you get so many more opportunities. That's, I think, a fabulous answer. I think that's something that all of our listeners should definitely consider. Don't just go by reputation ranking and the college, but also go deeper and into alumni and the kind of connections you can make. Definitely something that a B school aspirant has to think on the lines of. Um, all right, Naman, that was great so far. So talk about the application process. I know we've talked about the IEGAT,
right.
but let's not restrict ourselves to IE. I'm sure you applied to other schools. Maybe you could tell us which ones. But what do you think is the broad thing on your application that seem to sort of appeal to these schools? And what do you think is maybe one important thing at IE that you really aced? Maybe that's something that our audience can learn from,
Sure,
because you're somebody who's going from a Delhi University background. So I'm sure experiences are going to be similar. Yeah. So
sure,
what do you think about that?
sure. So I think when you apply to business schools abroad, the first thing that they look for is your aptitude for the course, and your cultural similarity for their business school or their university as well.
Right.
So if you're not culturally compatible, it's not something that is likable for the school for you to be choosing you,
Right.
which I think on the front of compatibility and on the front of ability, I think I really matched with IE Business School, because talking about like my experience at Delhi University, again going back to what I did in Delhi University, I was very very involved with within a campus clubs there. So
Right.
I was the president of the entrepreneurship club, and as
Right.
I mentioned before, I is ranked second in
On
entrepreneurship
entrepreneurship.
in
Yeah.
by Bloomberg in the whole world.
Right.
So yeah, I was the president of the entrepreneurship club, and we did a lot of like events, bringing in real, angel investors and VC on campus to be
Right.
evaluating
Right.
actual startups.
Right.
And other than that, I was also the president of the careers department. So I had a gauge of what really recruiters look into for when they hire people. So I sort of aligned it with my application process as well, because I'm of the view that obviously people in business, I'm sorry, the administrations in business school also want people who are employable, who really know what is going on in the industry. That is something
Absolutely.
that helped me as well.
Absolutely.
And other than that, I had some sort of internships in, again, not focused in on very specific thing because I was applying for a general management program,
Correct.
but I had sort of a holistic experience with my past
Got it.
internships as well. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Here's a. We've sort of steered away from the COVID-19 topic entirely, but I mean, I have to bring it in.
Okay.
How do you think the COVID has impacted Europe, and how do you think it will impact, the decision for somebody who's looking to study masters now? Is it a good time? Should one apply for next fall, or
Sure.
would what was your views on that?
Sure. So talking about I'll be talking about MIMS because
Yeah,
obviously that is something that I've done, and that is something that most of my friend circle and I'm sorry, most of my friend circle in IE and most of my island circle in IE is.
absolutely.
So I think it's a really good time to do MIM, which may sound odd to a lot of people, but since you go for MIMS in the very early stages of your career,
Right,
and for anybody in their early stages of their careers, the first job that they get is very, very important.
right,
It is very, very crucial.
right.
So the people who are just getting out of their undergrad schools, the career prospects available to them is relatively limited,
Yeah,
and business schools by and large, uh, talking about the larger trend across all of US, across whole of Europe, have been getting not nearly as many applications that they had been getting, say, 2 years or 3 years down the line. So
right,
you have a greater chance of getting into a better business school than what you have had otherwise.
right,
Uh, this is something that really plays onto your advantage. The other thing I would like to mention is the fact that you know, coronavirus is something that has like fundamentally changed how everything has been working, the whole economy, and it has really forced companies to rethink as well
absolutely,
how they should be working. So
absolutely,
I think it's like a good point of view wherein you think that maybe for the whole year you would be sitting in a class and professors would be coming in to lecture you, or there won't be as many field trips per se for that matter. But I think that experience is crucial as well, especially now, because if you look at most of the companies, they have been postponing postponing
recruitments.
employees coming to campus for 1 year, for 2 years, which says that this trend in the industry of work from home, of remote working, is here to stay.
Yeah,
And for the same, I think IE is a great example as well, because IE has been ranked first in the world for I think fifth year now for online MBA and online programs. So in that regard, it's an infrastructure which has been very well established for a long term,
all right,
and having a blended methodology for broadly speaking for a lot of business schools in Europe now, in France as well, in Germany and Netherlands, in Italy, and again in Spain as well. I think it's also a sort of skill that you should have of how do you how do you really collaborate with diverse teams online and not only face to face, which is a skill that would be very helpful because not a lot of people would be able to do that, as not a lot of people have experience with that, because nobody was really forced to do all of that pre-COVID,
Yeah.
and if you could really do that, you would really be on an advantage on that front.
Okay, interesting perspective. Okay, I think it's you've been giving us a lot of these interesting insights, especially I think most interesting one being applying now because
Right,
I think a lot of people are reconsidering, thinking, okay,
right, for
is
sure.
it really a good time to go? So I think that's an interesting metric you bring in that applications are probably down, so your chances are automatically better. Yeah.
Right,
Okay, I have one last question, Naman, and maybe we could
sure.
close the session at that. So, what's the one thing, what's the one thing that you did not really expect out of a MIM experience, out of a study abroad experience, and something that you totally did not anticipate, something most people don't think about, right? Is there a moment like that in your, last year or so, where you felt, okay, this is not something I was prepared for, and maybe you could give us a peek into that.
Right. So I think the biggest challenge for me upfront. So I've been involved with a lot of campus clubs here. I've been involved with a lot of companies. I've been talking to VCs, and as a person, I would say I'm sort of an ambivert. So uh, when it is needed, I think I can open up to a lot of people and to a lot of experiences, which I think not a lot of people are able to do. But it's like a good quality to have. But going to IE, the first thing that was really shocking for me entering into class was the cultural experience. It was very shocking at first because in for example, talking about my intake was around, I think, 350 to 400 people, and we
Okay.
had 68 or 69 nationalities in that,
All right.
and it was 91% international students. So,
Wow.
walking into my class of around 40 people, we had 27 nationalities there, and
Wow.
exactly nobody could really talk to the other person in their mother tongue. For example, I had a person sitting with me on my left. I had a Moroccan person sitting with me on the right. I had a South African person sitting in front of me. I had a Brazilian friend sitting behind me. So it was just it was very different sort of experience, which really pushes you out of your comfort zone, and it really forces you to talk to people, to collaborate with people, to be out there with it. And it is the sort of skill which not a lot of universities are able to provide you, especially in India. Since in
Yep.
India, if you see the enrollment of international students is, I think, even in the best universities, say talk about ISB or talk about IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, ABC, it's really 1% or 2%, and even those people are more or less NRIs who see the opportunity, or who see the value of coming to these business schools, so they come back. So they really miss out on the diversity front, which plays a huge role going forward uh, uh, at a business school so internationally known as IE. And I think that was something that I wasn't really expected. Uh, I wasn't really expecting to be this shocked and this out of my comfort zone. So I would say the first 2 weeks or so, it was sort of difficult to cope up, difficult to manage. But over time, you really get a hang of it, and you become very comfortable being in uncertain situations, being around people who you do not know. And yeah, it's a great experience all in all. Yeah.
Wow, that was really something because I mean I can imagine the kind of diversity on campus. It's I mean clearly unparalleled. At least in India, I don't think you
For
can get
sure.
anywhere close to that experience. So, uh, this has been great, Naman. I think you've sort of put light on a lot of those areas, gray areas, as we say. Thanks for your time. I mean, this was great. I obviously reserve the right to call you again sometime and talk about
No
something
worries.
different. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. Have a great day and week.
Thank you. Same to you as well, and same to all of the people who joined the webinar today.
Absolutely. Those of you, if you have any questions, do post them. I'll redirect them to Naman and maybe he can
Yeah,
answer
I
them
mean,
at
you
some
could
future
message
time.
me on LinkedIn as well. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Absolutely. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Naman. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah, you as well.